let's go ahead and use dates and times, and let's get your hands on your content polls. So if you did those content polls last time, then go ahead and step into your folder and that index page that we were working on before. And if we're going to show things by date and time, then I guess we'd better start showing the date and time on each of these movies. And so let me see, what did we put on our content types? So let me do types and tags, and just as a reminder to us here, I had you hopefully put on your movie content type, I'll look at mine, we had release date here as a date and time field, so we're going to expose that right now. And we had an unpublished date, but let's just work with release date. I think that's fine, and then we'll pull a range of release dates, on the page. And we can make that dynamic and responsive to today's date and all that stuff. Okay, so the first thing, let's get the dates to show. So go ahead and edit your widget. So down here in our bottom part, I think this is too small for you probably, so let me get this into my text wrangler. That's probably a little better. So what we're going to do is, I guess, right after the title, let's see, for each movie, that's the genre, so let's right after the title, right after that H3, let's go ahead and give ourselves a little space here. And the property we want to show, and I guess we can do maybe a EM to get some italics going, and I don't know, release date, and then movie.release date. Now, we don't have it formatted, but let me show you what it looks like if you don't format it. And then we need a break after that. All right, so let's just add that one line, save it in, and then we'll actually format that date. All right, so let's go ahead and Control A, Control V, lock for editing, save and publish. Okay, now we got an ugly release date there showing for each of our objects. And we do have a different, let's see, we got 11/2, 10/2, 10/10, 10/1. So we do have a few different dates there for me, so we can sort some out if we want to by date. But let's get this date formatted first. And some reason in my current version on my Mac, anytime I update a piece of software, it messes up my icons in my bar.
That's weird.
Yeah, I need to update. I haven't updated in a while. I think I need to update my OS. Okay, so date. Okay, I pasted an incomplete formatting tool, but that's kind of what you want. And it's in our documentation. As a matter of fact, it's under building sites, I believe. Where is it? Velocity, view tools, and the date tool. So I'll pass you that. And you got all sorts of different formatting techniques you can use, and we'll go over that. I have the different examples in my view tool.btl. So open up your widget again. And what we'll do is wrap that I pasted. Oh, not that. What I pasted to you. which let's go ahead and do date format. And then we're going to have to end that. And want to make sure that, especially since we're passing it into another tool, use our proper variable syntax and our parenthesis. Make sure that those single quotes are real single quotes there. And then copy and paste that in. So go ahead and paste that in whenever you're ready to give that a try. Now, the time machine only works if it's date and time. If on your content type, where is my content type? On my content type, if I put a field here, which was just date and time, then on my properties for my publish date and expire date, it wouldn't even show up in this list if it was only date. That's what I meant earlier before whenever I said we have to put date and time fields. Otherwise, we won't be able to do the enforced publishing and unpublishing. Time machine requires date and time of the day. If that makes sense. No? Doesn't make sense?
That does.
Okay. Question?
Nope. Let's see. No questions.
All right. So now we're going to say, okay, that's fine that we've got our dates showing here, but what if we want to pull only like October? And so make sure you edit your content. Make sure one date is in November or something. And we only want to pull October dates, or you only want to pull November and you want to get rid of all the ones from last month, whatever. Then how do we do a date range? So let's go ahead and do that. Let me show you how you can do it right from the content type itself. But I don't know whether in our content search we made the date searchable. Yes, we did. So then we should be able to, just go to your content search manager, look at your movie type. So make sure it says your initials and movies here under the type under the content search. And then you should be seeing release date here. If not, then you need to go back to your content type and you need to put user searchable as a property of the field release date. Okay. And then as you go to this field, look at the little hint here and read the first part of what that says. And it gives you the example of how you can do a date range search. And you can actually type that range search right inside. Now, the bad thing is, and I put in multiple complaints on this one, they haven't listened to me yet, but whenever you try to drag over, you can't copy one of those date ranges, which I think is completely annoying. But if you look at the format, it's 2-digit date, month, 2-digit day, 4-digit year, and then the part which is more important, it has to be a capital TO in the middle of the two date ranges. And of course, it begins and ends in brackets, not curly braces, not parentheses, but brackets. Okay. So if we want to do our own release date sort right here, let's go ahead and do it. Open bracket, close bracket. And then inside that, let's go ahead and put our date range. So we want to do, I'm going to just do October dates. So I'm going to do 10 /01/2017 space TO, capital TO, space, and then I'm going to do 10/31/2017. All right. So I'll just paste that in. This is what I did. And now if I search, I have, let me look at only English language, English only. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 movies. And now if I click my search, I should at least lose one. Oh, no, all of those are showing in only October. Did it auto do? Control X. I thought I had one movie that was in November. Maybe not.
All in October.
Fine. Okay. So then I'll have to be better on my date range. So let me do 10, 15, 2017, and then I'll see. Oh, well, I don't have any after 1015, do I? So fine, I'll do 1010. Okay, well, here's my 1015 search. And let's see. Did I have Raiders? Clear. Yeah, Raiders. I guess he's in an unpublished state right now. So the second I place that in there, if I did 10, 0, 1, and search, yeah, then that's whenever Raiders goes away. Okay, so now once you get a successful sort by date range, then you can go ahead and do your show query tool down here right next to the search button, right? You click that little down arrow, show query, and then you can see how that's built into your pull, right? You put that into your query. So if you want to copy that out, go ahead and copy that out, and let's get that ready to paste into our code, and let's do it manually now. Okay, so now that's copied. And let's go to our pull here. And remember up here where we were setting our query? Then let's just go ahead and paste that to the end of our query. So then I've got right after the con system host parenthesis, don't get inside that parenthesis, inside where system host is. Do it outside that first parenthesis there. And then make sure your double quotes come after that. And the ending parenthesis comes after that. And I just put a space so it'll drop to the next line there. Should have that in there. Now, I'm going to also add, before the for each, let's go ahead and add this just to see how we can do it. Today, date, and then if I can remember how to do it. Let me see if this works actually. Doing it off memory, and I just don't trust myself anymore. So let's see. Let me go to my index page. Mail it to Luigit. See if I get some sort of velocity error or something like that. Well, I didn't get velocity error, but that second one didn't work. That's what I was worried about, whether I can do that. What's wrong with my code? Oh, it's utilmethods.addDays. I thought it was a date tool. Fine. That's why I check this stuff. Knew I didn't trust myself. All right. And this is part of our view tools coverage, but since it's appropriate here for mutamethods.addDays, that should work. All right, so let me paste you this and just put it before your for each. So I just pasted it into the GoToMeeting. But and you have to have the capital U in util methods and M, capital U, capital M, and util methods.addDays. And of course, we're adding a negative number of days to go ahead and get, here we're getting today's date. And then here, below we're getting 7 days ago. And then you could pull this date range by the two variables that you would set using this. You'd set today's date equals, and we should, I guess, date.format. Here we'll do the same thing that we're doing down here, and we just do today's date. And then inside of here, we just pass today's date instead of the, right? And then maybe close that off nicely. There we go. And I guess I should set that to a variable, but let's see if we can just get that to spit out on the screen. Yeah, no. Okay. So now let me make sure it works first. Huh. It doesn't like feeding date to util methods. If you had it coming from your content, then that would be fine. Like, and I think it's already in my util methods examples. So if we did it on this, we'll see that this should work just fine. If this doesn't work, then there is a bug with util methods, but so if we took a week from the release date, so I'm just gonna do this movie.release date. So where is this? I'll just, so week old equals movie.release date. And then I'll do, do the same thing under here, old date, and then that'd be week old. All right. Okay. Well, now, is there some... Oh, you know what? I passed the parameters in the wrong order. Oh, man. Oh. Dir. It's supposed to be this order. The date first, then the number. That you want to subtract. And now it should work in both cases. Bad man, bad man. And that, of course, makes much more sense. First you pass the date and then the subtraction, right? Duh, duh, duh. So it was my add days. It wasn't my util method. That should work. What? All right, well, here it's working just fine. So yes, now we're down to, it doesn't like you passing date. You see how here the old date is 1 week before this date? And then now the original error, which I thought would be normal, and then we just have to actually make, see, this is a date object, or sorry, date being pulled from the date formatting on a field. But whenever you're grabbing the date tool raw, it needs to be formatted. We have actually the formatting, how to format a date and change date into different types of date types already in our view tools. So we will cover that, how to take the date and manipulate it. And I've got tons of different examples. So that's all we would need to do to get the date of the right format, that then we could pass it to then the date.format tool or the util methods, add days, but first it needs to be of the proper date format. And there's the Gregorian calendar date, there's, different type of dates objects. So we'll cover that later. So I don't think we need to go further into this. But if you wanted to go ahead and get a date range, you can kind of do what I did here, which is find the current date, get the date range, right? Today's date, and then an old date, which would be 2 weeks ago or something like that, or 1 week ago, and then feed that into your query via that what we built into the tool here, the bracketed date range that is pulling that out. But instead of a literal here, that should be variables based upon the date. And we'll show how to manipulate this guy later. As a matter of fact, we'll come back and we'll manipulate this guy later. We'll just leave him as he is for now until we get to that view tools part. Dying here, sorry guys. Okay. So after date range, let's talk a little bit about category polls. And we copied and pasted an example, but we never really went into it. And I have in the documentation another link that I'll pass you. Here in the code share, this is kind of nice because the code share that's right here is a link on our documentation. Gives you lots of examples. And I built one example, so if you wanted to find out more about categories and how to pull categories and stuff like that, in the category in the code share, You can see there's a whole bunch of things that are pieces of code you can play around with that people have built on most useful ways to deal with categories via code. So I went ahead and built this one that if you wanted to pull child categories based upon a parent category key, you could go ahead and do this. And it's got an explanation here that all you have to do is provide a key here of your parent category, and then it'll get the nested first level children and second level children and show you the properties of each and shows you how to call the velocity variable name and the category name and the key and all that good stuff. Now I've already taken that and I had overly verbose stuff here to try and help people. We've already taken that and we've already placed that widget here on the left hand side if you didn't see where I clicked, because I'm clicking around kind of fast. We already placed that on all of our pages over here in this left-hand side. But let's look a little more into this. And this is basically the root of the example that I have in the code share. So there is under our category tooling, and if you want to look at the category API, this is where you can kind of look for tools like this. I'll show you the API in a second. But at categories, there's a method called getChildrenCategoriesByKey, and then you pass it your category key. And all I did was set my category key here to genre because that's the parent category that I want to pull from. And then I just pass that key. And then you can get category name is the property of a category. Category name, category key. And here's just cat1.key. So as you're iterating over categories, all you have to do is .key, .category name, or here I could also velocity. I think it's that, which is really ugly. I don't think it's variable. Is it here? I think I have that right here. My velocity var name, yeah. So now I'll spit out in my list. You don't need to do it in yours. This is really just to show. Oh, I only did it for my nested loop. Okay, so now all of them will be showing the velocity variable name instead of the name. So, you can get any of those properties of a category. And where do you kind of look up stuff like that if you wanted to use a tool? Well, in the .cms documentation, oh, it was right there. You do have Java Docs API. I wish our API docs was a little better, but and here under category, so here's our category Java doc. Get category velocity names, get map, set category name. Get children categories. There's category API. Get all children. Is this where he is? There we go. Let's get active children. Here it is. It's under our categories web API. Of course, the last one to look at. Here is the get children categories by key. And then you can take a look at the different ways you can call that. So our API isn't perfect for sure. I wish there was more doc here, but we're working on it. And so you can see the different methods for the different ways to call properties by category. So, and unfortunately, I can't pass you a link because this is all Ajaxy interactive here. But and I don't even think I can copy a link address in this and paste it anywhere meaningful. Paste and go. Oh, that does work. So let me paste that to you. Maybe you want to save that in your Evernote. And I've got the categories by key there. And let's see, let me paste you the categories web API. Copy link address. This is a categories web API. And so those links, if you ever need to do anything with categories, those links will kind of get you right to the things you can call or play around with. Try to avoid the things that say deprecated by them, though, because then we're, phasing those tooling out, or it's already been phased out. You got to call it by a more modern methodology. So we will, whenever we deprecate things, there should be a list of, we'll have fixes in a fix list. And let's see if I control F and I do deprecated. Yeah, there's like a couple of them here. So we tell you what's, been deprecated here. And deprecated features removed in 4.1. We just had a big deprecation, and then so there's our whole list of things that were deprecated. So we try to do that and try to give you a heads up, and we try to tell you, if there's a replacement for it. It could be it's just like, nobody ever uses this, and it could be just knocked out because it really isn't needed, period. But usually we try to say, use this or use the API documentation instead, and use the API methodology. But
Yeah.
all these are replaced by the .content tool, so that'd be the best place to look for that. All right, so back to the different polls. Those are different ways to go ahead and pull by category, pull by category key, velocity, variable name of the category, which is horrible, but but you can. And edit on ready paste. Yeah, okay. Then I'll paste that back so I don't have my widget all messed up. And so this is how you could build getting your categories by key. You can build lists like this, or you could even, I had somebody who wanted to put their categories in a menu up here. They could do that as well. And expose the multiple levels of a category. You can do that inside of a field on a content type so that you can actually show a select list of categories and child categories. So there's a lot of places that could be useful if you're using the category taxonomy. Pull related. I think I had you just to show what the category, what the relationships, what they were for, and kind of how they were needed as far as a physical relationship between, in this case, the movies and the faculty, the people who were acting in the movie, the actor and actresses, the movie staff. But I don't think we really went into the actual pull of related content here. Oh, we don't do that until the detail page. So I'll click on Life of Pi. So click on one of your movies, go to your detail, and get your widget. And we're going to explain this in a little more detail. Okay, so this is the detail page widget. And instead of the .content.pull, this is .content.pull related. So this you'll also need to change if you have, I'm not even sure what we did before, but pull related must have been something like that. So look out for those related content pulls as well. So we've got our, we've already pulled the detail through that URL map content variable, and we got movie. And then we need to pass the pull related. We need to pass it several different parameters. Now here, what we are doing is we are passing the name of the relationship. Then you have to pass the identifier of the object that you're trying to find related children about. Then this false here is whether you want to pull children or you actually want to look and see what is the parent in the relationship. So you can pull in either direction. I wish this wasn't a Boolean variable, but it basically means, do you want to pull up or you want to pull down? And since the movie is the parent content in the relationship, remember we went ahead and set our relationship over here, content types. And if we go here to view all relationships and we look at, here's my DG movies, DG staff. My movies is my parent relation name, and my movie staff is the child relation name. So if I'm passing a movie, then what am I, then looking for? Am I looking for a parent of the movie? No, I'm looking for a child of the movie, which is staff. So that's why I would leave this variable as false, which means I'm always pulling down to the child of whatever I'm passing. That's the parent. This is the child. If I said true here, not "ture," but true, then it would expect that the movie was actually a child of some parent up above it. And that is not true in this case. But what if we were passing the actor dot identifier? Then we would need to set this to true. We would leave the relationship name the exact same, or I should say, I guess we called it movie staff. So if I did movie staff, and this was pulling movie staff up here, right? That's what we were clicking. We were clicking on the person and going to the person's detail page, the actor or actress. Then we would have movie staff equals URL map content, and then movie staff dot identifier. And then if we're passing the child movie staff, then we can't pull another child. There's no child underneath. There's the relationship. We're pulling a parent. So then we have to say the direction is to look is up, right? Which is why we would have to set this to true. Look up and find me the movie's parent, which would be the movie. So it depends upon what you're passing and what direction you want to travel. All right, we're back to normal. And then after that is how many do you want to pull? how many actors and actresses in this case, and 0 means all of them, but you could set a limit. And instead of doing the .content.pullRelated, you can use pullRelated and paginated. So we'll show that whenever we get to the paginated part. But we're pulling all of them. And here is the movie staff .last name here. This is our sort. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parameters to the pull related. Okay. But if we look at our documentation and we type in pull related, we can see here that here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parameters down here on the bottom. Now you can send less. The minimum is relationship name, identifier, direction, and number. You don't even have to pass a sort order if you don't want. So you can't. This method will take parameters of various size of parameters, of parameter lists of various sizes, I guess I should say. But in this one, we're doing something else, and we're just passing one extra parameter, and this is this query here. So some field dot some colon some value. What that means is we would have to be trying to segregate the actors or actresses by some specific property that was on them. See what I can do to kind of show that. But I'd have to go back to my actors and actresses. Now, there isn't really much on actors and actresses, so I'd have to go to my movie staff and see what in the heck could I possibly sort by. Not much. What? I only have one actor or actress? How is that possible? Okay. I thought that I had related more than this. Relationships? I guess I did not. All right. All right, just adding a couple here so I can show. All right. Now, it would be better if I had a property on my movie staff content type that would be maybe actress or an actor, what type of actor and actress they are. But I don't. So I'm just going to do something really simple. I'm going to say I'm only going to get the actors and actresses related to the movie whose first name is Zoe. Okay. So you can do a filter on your pull of your related. So if I go to my movie staff and I type in Zoe here and I search, oh, that's AM movie staff, not DG movie staff. Type in Zoe. Okay, so I'm instantly auto filtering out only Zoe. That's what I want. So if I do my show query, then I can see this right here. Okay, I actually do not like the way that it puts the asterisk before and after. I wish it would not in the example. So then I could provide another parameter. The order I don't even believe matters. So where do they put it over here? I'm going to test that theory and put it after false. All right. And then I don't like the way that that's there, so I'm going to do that. So this means that we're going to pull all the actors and actresses related to the movie that we're currently on, but we're only going to list the actors and actresses whose first name begins with Zoe. So I'm going to have to click on basically that one movie. And like I said, this would be better if you first filtered maybe your directors and then filtered your actors and did 2 different related polls or something like that. But so I'm going to actually Control V, paste that in there, 7 publish. And so I'm obviously going to get nothing on Life of Pi. But if I go back, no, I don't want to go there. And go to Guardians. Then something's wrong with my Guardians URL map. Great. I'll bet you he did not get saved. So he's got a bad URL map. Oh, why did I do that? DG Movies, Guardians. What's wrong with your URL map? I don't see there's a problem with your URL map. 10/2/2017, never unpublish, lock for editing, save and publish. There should be no issue. Teen index, Guardians. Okay, yeah, I was just opening and saving him. Now down here, it gives me only Zoe, even though Chris Pratt was actually also in the cast, right? So if you did need to filter out and we wanted to put directors, and then underneath that, only actors, we could do filtration of the related content list using that parameter. And that's actually proved useful to me several different times, but that's a silly filter, so we'll go ahead and get that off. As that extra parameter. And save and publish. And now, of course, we're pulling both of them, right? So those are all your parameters for pulling related content. All right, so then let's go ahead and move on to paginating content polls. And we've already got an example of that, but let's just try to include it on ours. So paginated poll and display of contents. Let's go ahead and have you guys include this in your list and paginate your movie lists. So let's look at what you can do with it though first. So it's .content.pull paginated. So that's how we're going to change. We're not going to do just .content.pull, but .content.pull paginated. But then we're going to have to change what we're feeding in. You start off with a query, just like we're already doing in our regular .content.pull, but then we've got to set a limit and an offset. Okay, and then we can go ahead and do our sort parameters. So basically, we're going to have to be doing our query here. And then the page number that we're currently on, we're going to have to pass that here. And then here we're going to have to do the number of pages that we, number of pieces of content per page that we want, and then our sort. Okay, so on the docs site, you can see that documentation here. I'm kind of passing you a big list of links here. And this is kind of what we want. Whoever did this doc didn't finish off the last parenthesis there. Nice. Nice.
And you're just finding all kinds of
Oh yeah.
just finding all kinds of issues to give to I guess your QA team.
Okay. So let's go ahead and open our, I'm going to first paste that code. Just totally get rid of that. Oh, just pass the link. I wanted to get that. Well, just that. Yeah, I already went to my doc guy and said fix that. Okay, so then we need to grab our movie listing, right? So I went back to my movies page, and this is the widget that we want to mess with. I think we're parsing a VTL on the page. So I'm just going to click on my movie list here and grab it. Well, we did a lot of code the last time, didn't we? Okay. So here in this .content.pull per page, we're going to change this to the pull per page. Oh, not the pull related, but our pull of the original movies. What? Oh, that's for h.content. Oh, the bottom one. The bottom one is what we're going to change. Right? The .content.pull. So I'm going to just paste this. On the bottom, I guess we were doing it all on one page, which I should not do. And we're going to go ahead and do this. Our query is being set over here, so we can just go ahead and take this my query here and feed it right in here, right? And 3 per, that's page 3. Let's do this so that we don't have to make their little numbers and buttons on the left and the right or anything like that, but let's do this. Let's request a parameter. Let's do that request.get parameter, and maybe we'll put page here. So let's set that. Here, I'll pass you that code, but just set request.parameter page to variable, my page, or maybe current page. Equals request.get parameter page. And then we would do if the current page is set, or maybe we would do this. If current page Yeah, we would do if request.parameter page has a value. That'll take care of that for us. If request.parameter page has a value, then set that variable. Else, we would then set current page. Oh, set current page equals, it's going to be expecting a number, so we're going to do 1. And we're going to have to do, now the bad thing is there's two different things you should really be doing whenever you do a request.get parameter page. One, you should be doing an XML escape to make sure nobody, for any reason, anytime you do a request.get parameter, you want to make sure that if somebody's trying to inject, they see you're setting something, they do page equals, and then they start typing some XML, some JavaScript, that then they don't execute that on your page, somehow, or inject it. So, cross-site scripting or something like that. So, I'll show you that during the view tools section. Now, the second thing that you should be doing is if, like here, it's expecting a number here. It's not expecting text. But when anytime you request that get parameter out of a URL, then it's text, right? So we're going to have to take that text and pass it to integer. So I'm kind of showing you some things that are quite common difficulties, and we're resolving them right here so that you don't end up running into them, right? So there is a tool here. Where's my Evernote here? To integer, just a math tool. Math.toInteger. And here I just have it already from one of my previous trainings here. So we'll just pass current page, put him there. Just do it that way. Okay. So I'm going to give you this code. So you just do a math.toInteger request.get parameter page, and then that does it all in one fell swoop. Let me just pass you that code. You can just copy and paste it right into yours. Okay. Now that if we request it from the URL, and we're just going to set it manually, question mark page equals whatever in the URL to see if it's working or not, right? We're not going to really build this whole thing out. And then, so current page will be set, math.toInteger, and otherwise we're setting it to integer 1, right? Which will give us our first page. Now we need to go ahead and take current page down here, and that's this first parameter right here, which is 3, right? And then anytime we're passing a variable, we need to make sure that we do it the right way. And here is our query. We need to do the same thing here, right? And then the number to pull, let's go ahead and pull 3 movies per page. So we can get the current page, and we'll show 3 movies per page. You could do 2 if you want to, just to make sure that you actually get pagination here. Let's just set it to 2 in case you don't have too many movies. We need to show something to show one difference between one page and another, right? And order by release date, I guess descending would make sense. So we can go ahead and do our movie dot release date descending, right? Now we take this and we cut that and we paste it right into where we had our .content.pull, right? So then that should be this nice long big ugly thing now. See, I got one, yep, beginning and end, yep. So this is what your for each statement should now look like. That's your for each statement that I just went in past. And that is it. That should then work for paginating. Now let's make sure this works, and then I'll show you some parameters. So we should be able to get to the first page and the second page by just doing question mark page equals 1, page equals 1. I guess 1 will be automatic. Just make sure I don't see any little errors in my code. I think we're okay. For editing. Okay. Why am I getting nothing? That is the old way of doing sort. Let me change that back to mod date. Let's see if that matters. Oh, I want you. No, that didn't matter. So let's do this. Just test here. Right, this current page. Current page. And then let's look at that query. There's really not much else. And then we'll do queries not being set. What? How did I mess up my query? That was even before all of our stuff. Staging movies, content host. All right. Lucky. I do not know why this guy isn't setting my query. Oh, wait a minute. This is called it's my query. Ah, here I'm actually calling the wrong variable. How about my query instead? That's my query, and then this up here is my query. All right, so now cancel. Lucky, you got to keep your eye on me, man. I'm not doing well this morning. Okay, so that's all setting fine. Huh. So it was all working the entire time. So current page is 1. The query is fine. Pull per page. All right, so then let's do a little more diagnostics here and set this guy. See what we're getting. Set page list equals this dot content dot pull per page, my query, current page, mod date, and that. And then this guy is what should go here then. Right, and my list. See what you're returning. Okay. So it's got to return us something. It has to. It has to. Index. Well, no. Back. And I'm not seeing my VTL file to edit. What? Index. I can't. No, I'm totally freaking out here. I wasn't on my movie listing. I was on my movie detail the entire time? Or is somebody else pasting into my field here? All right. So that is a lot of stuff. Current page and the query, and then my list. I just didn't put a break. Okay, so that all seems to be working. And then here's pi and blah, blah, blah. So let's see now if I just take this off. After current page, I'm setting page list, but I am not spitting out page list. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, finally. Okay, so now we're only doing the 2. Now, if we look here, now the rest we should be able to see really, really quickly. There's a bunch of parameters that you can get at here. There we go. Previous page, next page, total pages, and total results. So, and the reason why it's also nice to set page list, you need to do it from the list. So I'm going to put it for each movie. So I guess at the end of our for each loop, right? Then I'll go ahead and say, what is it? Previous page. Let me go ahead and go down to the end here and get this up where you can see it. Previous page Next page, total pages, total results. And that is going to be page list dot previous page. I want next page. And total results. Right? Get maybe all that extra junk out of the end there. Look for editing, save and publish. Okay. Now, you total patés. We aren't in France, and there's not a total number of pâtés that we're serving to anybody. So, all right. The way that you display your buttons is, if previous page is false, you don't show a previous page button. If next page is true, then you do. And then you would put a clickable down here. If there's a next page or a previous page, that's going to take the current page, which you're reading in from your URL, or it's automatically set. The current page we're already showing here, right?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to test this guy from the front end. Let's see, just copy link address. We'll go ahead and go here to our incognito page and go here. Okay, so this is just hitting our default page 1, but now we're going to question mark page equals 2. And now we can see current page is 2, and now we're seeing the second page of movies, and previous page is now true. Next page is false because we don't have very many movies. Total pages is only 2. That's why we're not seeing a next page. And then total pages is total results is how many movies total do you have. So you can check your math and see whether everything is working out okay. But we've got everything working just fine. And now we, I guess there's not really much else to show there. That's page 1. It's page 2, and then you just put your controls in, right? Here's something else you can do. What if I wanted to randomize the return of these movies? So I don't always want Life of Pi to be the first one. I don't care about sort order. I want to randomize. You can do instead of mod date here, I'm going to do random. And now I'm getting Guardians of the Galaxies first, and then Life of Pi second. And I can just keep refreshing here. Oh, what'd I do? Here, I'll refresh from this guy. Come on. Give me a different. There, finally. Come on, because that should be randomizing the list each time, and I should be getting more results than that. But I think it's a 15-second delay. Because here on my properties and my pages, do I have my index page properties? Yeah, got this stupid 15-second. See that thing? That kills you whenever you're testing. Always remove that to 0, especially whenever you're testing. Now, maybe I can refresh and get a better result. Yeah, instantly. Yeah, now we're getting like some real difference between the page hits. Yeah. Yeah, see that? Okay, so that is the random feature, and that is the what to watch out for on auto page caching. Managing VTLs across hosts. The only thing I usually cover there is VTL, getting in via WebDAV, managing your VTLs, and being able to parse a VTL that lives on a global host or lives on an individual host. I think you already told me that's kind of what you're already doing anyway. That's all of the basics behind kind of the basic velocity pulls that I cover normally.